evening, I'm Katerina Georgieva. Here's what's making news right now.
It feels nice to be out. The sun is shining, people are out laughing, enjoying each other's company, and hearing live music. It just feels really good.
I feel like our political leaders should really represent the population, and adding 2 more Black women opens doors for so many other groups as well, so that we can actually have adequate representation in all of Ontario.
Each one of us is here in front of you today because we all share the belief that each and every Canadian deserves a safe and affordable place to call home.
Thanks for joining us. After a 2-year hiatus, St. Patrick's Day celebrations are back in full force. Pandemic lockdowns and restrictions have kept Windsorites from celebrating, but it's all looking a lot different today. CBC's Jennifer Lagrassa joins us now live. Jen, you are outside, you are on a patio right now. What have you been seeing?
Lots of smiles, lots of beer, and lots of green. That's been the common theme all day today. This is the first time where there's a big celebration, and most of those COVID restrictions have been lifted since 2020. The only major one still in place is really masking. So if you're moving around on the patio or you're going inside, I've been to 3 bars across town today, and they were all packed. People are just so happy to be out again.
It's just been too long. We needed to get out and do something fun.
Yeah.
It's a little bit surreal, and it kind of feels like a dream, just because, you know, we've been under restrictions for so long, and seeing this many people out enjoying themselves and still being cautious and safe, but just, you know, the smiles on people's faces, and just seeing a normal event just like it was, you know, 3 years ago, or how things were normally supposed to be before the pandemic happened. And it's absolutely incredible to see.
You have a crazy good wig right now. Was that purchased just for this one, or have you had it before?
I think I wore it in 2019. I was here at the same spot and wore it then, and then we haven't been able to celebrate, so it came out of the closet again today.
We were running around a little bit the last few days, thinking we're going to forget how to do this, but and even today we were still running around, tying up loose ends, getting prepared. But you know what? Everyone showing up made it really worth it. Just seems like people celebrating the fact that they can actually do this again. I think we took it for granted before.
Oh, in the last couple of years, you know, we would get up for St. Patrick's Day or Easter. You know, there was beer we had to throw away because beer doesn't keep long, and there was food we had to throw out, you know, things that we prep. So this is a nice change. Well, a day like today, you know, you're tripling your revenues, you know, in one day, which is kind of nice. It's a nice turn of events, so we certainly appreciate it.
Jen, it's amazing to see so many people out and about in March, no less. And this is the first major celebration since most restrictions have lifted, as you mentioned. So what are health officials advising?
County Health Unit is still asking people to be cautious. So that's if they can't physical distance, to wear that mask, wash their hands, and stay home if they are not feeling well. That's very different advice than the last 2 years. Last year there was restrictions, those capacity limits still in place. The year before was just a complete lockdown. Windsor Police also tweeting out, telling people to drink responsibly and to really plan a ride home. They said, and I quote, "The leprechauns made me do it" is not an excuse. They want to see people get home safe. Katerina.
Thanks for this, Jen. We're going to check back in with you later tonight. That's CBC's Jennifer Lagrassa reporting live for us tonight. And as people begin to gather and celebrate again, new modeling from the province's COVID-19 Science Advisory Table projects cases will increase in the coming weeks, but they will be manageable depending on our behavior. Lisa Shing has the details.
100 wives, and his wisdom was highly regarded.
It's not just the green beer and warmer weather luring people outside. It helps that rules around COVID have all but completely eased.
I think I'll keep a few masks just in case.
Excited to see people's smiles finally again, you know? That's what I'm most excited about.
I'm throwing it right in the trash. I was just in Florida for a month and didn't wear it once, and it's like you realize that things can happen and life can go on without it.
But some experts are urging a more cautious approach. Using wastewater surveillance, test positivity, and mobility data, Ontario's science table's latest figures show case numbers and hospital and ICU occupancy have stopped declining. And considering Ontario's mask mandate will be lifted Monday, those numbers will likely increase over the next few weeks.
If we start to just see, all masks dropped like T-shirts on a beach, then it's probably not a good thing.
But if people don't change their behavior too drastically, the numbers will still be lower than they were during the peak of the Omicron wave in January, and the increase will just be for a limited amount of time. The data shows third doses have made a huge difference in preventing even more people ending up in hospital.
If we continue to take it slow, and perhaps get a little bit more vaccinated as well and wait for spring, weather like what we're having right now, we should look relatively okay.
Aside from masking in busy indoor environments, the head of Ontario's science table says to be careful about the number of close contacts we have, especially indoors without masking. In a statement, the Ministry of Health says Ontario has done significantly better than the best-case scenario from the last modelling, and it can handle any range of hospitalizations from these latest projections. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Toronto.
Ottawa today officially announced it is ready to drop the pre-entry COVID-19 testing requirement for fully vaccinated travelers. At a news conference this morning, the health minister said the time is right.
I think it's fair to say that we are now entering into a transition phase of this pandemic. As the weather warms and people spend more time outside, we can expect to see transmission decline in the coming months. But we have to be prepared for a waning of collective and individual immunity.
Testing requirements will be removed at airports and land border crossings starting April 1st, though you still need to complete a questionnaire in the Arrive Can app. Authorities will continue to randomly test travelers upon arrival to identify and track COVID-19 variants. This change comes as travel picks up in various jurisdictions across the country and restrictions involving vaccine passports, gatherings, and masks. And border cities like ours, they've been waiting for this for 2 years now. Our mayor says it's long overdue, while the local duty-free shop says this finally gives their team hope for the future despite a big road to recovery ahead.
I think it's a real important change. I mean, at this point in time, keeping that restriction in place would have been equivalent to putting a couple slugs in a corpse. And that corpse was our travel industry. And so now that we're making that change on April the 1st, I think that gives a lot of hope to everyone across the country, from Toronto to Windsor, including every border community, that things are going to get back to normal. We'll get people back to work and get our economy humming again.
Our border businesses have been down 80 to 95% the entire time, the entire 2 years. We still have folks that we haven't called back to work yet. We are among the hardest hit of the hardest hit businesses, and we're not the only ones. The whole tourism industry has suffered.
This will have a big impact on our economy, and I think of our largest employer being Caesars Windsor, where they employ over 2,000 men and women from the community, and they rely on cross-border traffic for a full third of their business.
We do need the federal government to keep us in mind, to keep supporting us. Don't forget about us. We have a big road to recovery in front of us. We're anticipating it'll be 2 to 4, maybe even 6 years before we fully recover to pre-pandemic levels.
I think what's been shown around the world over the last 2 years is that border closures has not kept COVID out of countries. And so we need to find a way 2 years in to live with this virus and the evolution of this virus. And keeping people apart, separating families, hurting the economy is not the pathway to do that.
I'm so hopeful that on April 1st, everybody's going to come back. People have family over there. We're in a border town. We are so interconnected. The only thing separating us is that border, right? I myself have family over in Michigan, my immediate family. So instead of going over maybe once every 2 weeks, because it's such a hassle for me to go over now, I'll be going over so much more frequently. It'll be wonderful. I can pop over after work and meet my family for dinner. And I'm not the only one in Windsor that's going to be doing that. So I am very hopeful that things are going to open back up and our customers are going to come back and our city will be thriving again like it once did.
The provincial election this June is shaping up to be one of the most interesting elections this area has seen in a long time. History could be made in a number of ways, and we are guaranteed 2 new MPPs. Dale Molnar is here now to break it down for us live in studio. Dale, explain why this election stands out.
Well, Katarina, we could see a woman of color representing the area at Queen's Park for the first time in history, and observers say the PCs have a good chance of winning a seat for the first time in decades. In Windsor-Tecumseh, the Tories are running Tecumseh councillor Andrew Dowie. The NDP are trying to hang on to the seat Percy Hatfield is vacating with Gemma Gray-Hall, and Windsor City Councillor Gary Kashik is running for the Liberals. I spoke with former MPP Dave Cook, who once represented that area, for his take on the Conservative chances.
I think the chances are that the NDP and the Liberals could split the vote, and if Andrew Dowie shows the kind of support that I think he has, it could be a three-way race, and he could very well get elected. The other thing with him is Ford has been a strong supporter of our hospital and has put us into stage 2. The Liberals, on the other hand, in December, I think it was, of 2017, promised us we were going in stage 2, and they never did. If they had, we'd be doing a sod turning for the hospital now. And then, of course, Gemma has a bit of a problem in that it's not that many years ago that she was supportive of camp and opposed the hospital. So she's now in favor of it, but she's going to have to live with that history as well.
But he agrees there are strong contenders in all stripes in both Windsor-Tecumseh and Essex. Essex will get a new MPP, but will it be well-known NDP candidate Ron LeClaire, who is a school board trustee that represents Amherstburg and LaSalle, or will it be former Amherstburg Deputy Mayor Anthony Liardi, who is running for the Conservatives, another prominent Conservative candidate? And Manpreet Brar is running for the Liberals. Now, former political science professor Lloyd Brown-John tells me his money's on the Conservatives in this election because he feels they are better organized, even in Windsor West, where former LaSalle Police Chief John Leon Tobitz is running for the PCs. Kat?
And Dale, we also have women of color running in 3 of the 4 local ridings. So what can you tell us about them?
Well, Gemma Gray-Hall, as I mentioned before, is running in Windsor-Tecumseh. Linda McCurdy, Howard McCurdy's daughter, is running in Windsor West for the Liberals. And if one or both win it will be the first time a black woman has represented the area at Queen's Park. Manpreet Brar in Essex is South Asian, so once again, another woman of color. I spoke with the president of Black Women of Forward Action to get her reaction.
I'm really excited for Windsor itself, but for me personally, it's just I'm so glad to see representation, a person who looks the way I look, the person who may act or have similar experiences, and maybe can even speak on my behalf for some of the things that I've always wanted to see happen in society.
Now, also in Windsor West, Lisa Gretzky is the NDP incumbent. Dave Cook believes she will be reelected.
Dale, you mentioned Chatham-Kent Leamington. Tell me about why that is one to watch.
If MPP Rick Nichols gets re-elected, it will be the first time a member of the fledgling Ontario Party will be elected in that riding. The question is, will PC candidate Trevor Jones unseat him? Jones is a Leamington councillor, but will he be well known enough in Chatham-Kent? A lot can happen in that riding as the NDP and the Liberals have yet to choose candidates. Kat?
Thanks for that interesting breakdown, Dale. CBC's Dale Molnar live in studio for us tonight. Windsor-Essex County and Caldwell First Nation will have more affordable housing very soon.
$20 million in funding to build 60 new homes in Caldwell First Nation, the City of Windsor, the County of Essex, through the Rapid Housing Initiative.
Windsor will have more affordable housing on Bloomfield Road and Crawford Avenue, in Leamington on Shirk Street. The new units are meant for young adults, those living with physical disabilities, Indigenous people, Black Canadians, and racialized groups. Caldwell First Nation will be getting 26 new units as part of the funding, a mix of townhomes and 4plexes for seniors and other members of the First Nation. A youth resource center in Leamington says there are no affordable places for young people right now, adding that they could fill the 8 units they will be gaining from this initiative, in addition to another 4 units from Habitat for Humanity in no time if they were available today.
This is a Band-Aid approach for now. For us as an organization, we're a not-for-profit organization. These 12 units are a part of a total of 42 that we're planning over the next number of years, again, to assist with youth homelessness and overall homelessness for all ages.
We will refer to it as a home. They will become homes for us. We talked today about housing, we talked today about community, but in a very short time, that's going to be a home for people that are looking for homes. They're going to be eco-efficient for us. They're going to be friendly to the environment, so I thank you for that.
The Caldwell First Nation homes are set to be finished by the end of the summer, while the rest should be ready by the end of the year. And the strategic port city of Mariupol continues to be a primary target for Russian forces in Ukraine. Its takeover is seen as a key objective that could open the door for a massive incursion by the Russian military. A rescue operation is underway following yesterday's bombing of a theater in Mariupol. Hundreds of women and children had taken shelter inside the building. And in just a moment, you're going to see a satellite photo showing the word children written in Russian on the ground in front of and behind the theater. It was hoped that the message would prevent the theater from becoming a target. Officials say there are survivors, but there is no word on how many may have been killed or hurt. Mariupol is just one of several major cities in Ukraine being bombarded. And new intelligence reports from the UK and US have reached very similar conclusions. The Russian invasion of Ukraine has largely stalled on all fronts. The reports say the Ukrainian resistance remains strong and well coordinated, and the vast majority of Ukrainian territory remains in Ukrainian hands. CBC's David Cochran has the details.
Russian forces to the east of Kyiv are about 30 kilometers from the city center. That's largely where it's been for the last several days. And in that time, the capital city has endured intense shelling. And as bad as that is, it pales in comparison to what the people of Mariupol in southeast Ukraine are enduring. That city remains isolated. The Russians pound the city with deadly long-range artillery. But despite that, U.S. officials say the city is still being effectively defended. Now, in another key city, Odessa, a major port on the Black Sea, the U.S. says there have been no significant Russian forays there, but there has been shelling in nearby towns. The UK assessment is that Russia has probably fired off more rockets and missiles at this point in the invasion than originally planned, and as a result, the UK Defense Ministry is warning that Russia may be resorting to using older, less precise weapons, which put civilian lives at risk. Things are going slower than Russia expected. It has failed to take control of the airspace, and all of that is eating into Russian supplies of its more modern air-launched munitions and forcing them to use older and less effective ones. So this is the assessment of the state of things after 3 weeks of war. Ukrainian resistance is held. Civilian targets now appear to be bearing the brunt of this. David Cochran, CBC News, London.
The union representing Ontario College faculty and the college's bargaining unit were back at the table today. Negotiations continue as the union prepares to strike tomorrow. On Monday, the union promised to strike starting at midnight tonight if their demands are not met. In 2017, college faculty walked the picket line for 5 weeks. This strike would include professors, counselors, librarians, and instructors, and would affect about 250,000 students. There is a live look at some of those festivities for St. Patrick's Day today. Jen LaGrassa is on the ground. Just a nice, beautiful day for a celebration like this. Tomorrow, we do have some showers possibly coming through, but the double digits are going to continue. Nick Sirkovich will be here after the break with more. Before that, we're going to take a look at a rescue on the Detroit River. And later in the program, we will check back in with Jennifer LaGrassa. Stay with us. Welcome back. What was supposed to be an adventurous afternoon paddle turned into an emergency response along the Detroit River yesterday. That's the United States Coast Guard circling Peche Island. A person on the shoreline called in a report of a kayaker having trouble in the icy water, but it may have appeared worse than it actually was. CBC News did speak with the kayaker, and she said that she has years of experience navigating tough conditions and all the proper safety gear, including a wetsuit with appropriate gear underneath. So she said she understood the risks and believed that she was safe. Now, despite her confidence that she was okay, she is thankful the person from the shore called in the search and rescue team. She was flown back to Windsor and is making plans to get her kayak back from the island. So it's a good time to bring in Nick Sirkovich. You know, in those conditions, it's so interesting that it ended up just being a preventative measure, right? But it can still be dangerous in those icy conditions, even though it's getting so much warmer.
Well, it can, and as they say, right, better safe than sorry.
Exactly.
Now, if you had a chance, or if anybody had a chance to get out today, I have to admit, you know, I kind of lied to you. I told you it'd be 20 degrees. Today it was 21.
There you go.
But I don't think anybody's holding. I don't think anybody's holding it against me.
No, not at all.
No, we're still sitting actually at 20 degrees right now in Windsor. So there's a look at current temperatures. I mean, a gorgeous day out there. Lots of warm temperatures across southern Ontario. Of course, the warmest often down in southwestern Ontario, and that's where we're seeing those warm temperatures, or warmest of the temperatures down in Windsor. There's a look at the current satellite and radar imagery. We've got a little bit in the way of cloud cover just starting to roll in. There is a system that's pushing through, though, and this will bring some rainfall heading into the weekend. For tonight, look for fog patches to develop again, especially along the shorelines of Lake Erie. However, generally patchy fog right across the board. As that begins to dissipate, we'll see a brief hint of sunshine, and then cloud cover starts to move in. Now, into the evening hours, we've got the risk for some spotty showers, but it's more so kind of the late supper hour. We're going to start to see rainfall coming through, and then rain showers basically carrying us through until Saturday morning, then spotty on and off showers through Saturday afternoon before it finally tapers off. And you see that blue there? Yeah, kind of hard to believe, but even though it was 21 degrees today, we may see some flurries into Sunday morning just as the temperatures approach the 0 mark. In terms of the rainfall,
we are doing
anywhere around 15 millimeters of rain is expected here across the Windsor area. In southwestern Ontario for tonight, we're looking at temperatures at about 3 degrees, 2-3 degrees or so. Fog patches across the region, and then tomorrow 11, so about half of what we saw today. Now, still above seasonal, although a little bit cooler. Cloud cover starts to move in. 40% of seeing afternoon spotty showers. But once we get into the evening, you're looking at rainfall continuing through until Saturday evening. Looks pretty nice, though, for Sunday, which, by the way, is the first day of spring.
There you go. Something to look forward to. Thanks for that, Nick.
You bet.
All right, we're taking another live look there. This is the scene at Dominion House. Jennifer LaGrassa is there. We're going to check back in with her right after the break. Stay with us.
us.
It is St. Patrick's Day after what's very much been a 2-year hiatus. Folks are finally out celebrating again, and Jennifer LaGrassa has been covering this for us today, and she is currently at Dominion House. So Jen, many are out and about today. There have also been some safety warnings from official bodies. So just talk us through what folks need to know today.
So as I said before, the health unit is just telling people to use their best judgment, mask if you can't social distance, wash your hands, and to stay home if you're feeling sick. But they said to go out and to enjoy the day and the celebrations. Windsor Police, again, saying that you should really plan a ride home, drink responsibly. Everyone that I've been talking to today, though, has said that really this has felt like a long time coming. And the weather today is what brought people out to those patios. Katarina.
Thanks so much for this, Jen. CBC's Jennifer LaGrassa reporting live from Dominion House tonight. And that is it for CBC Windsor News. Thank you so much for watching. Wishing you a great night and a happy St. Patrick's Day.